Underworld Ministry.
What's
going on?
We missed you guys.
We are back for another week.
We're back on our bullcrap.
We're back. But we switched it up a little.
Yeah.
We got to keep you guys on your toes. Your tippy toes.
It's a little different this week.
Why is it a little different this week, Sarah?
Because we have a different type of interview this week.
So, my little noggin thought it'd be cool. All the investigators that we investigated there, we all have the same goal. Go to haunted locations, investigate the locations. But nobody ever really talks to the haunt owners after the investigators that leave. The ones that own the property, the one that's purchased the property, the one that's
always there.
Always there. That knows everything about the property. So why not interview them? That's what we're doing this week. Here's our guest. The Haunted Castle House in Missouri. Shout out to Natalie in Missouri.
Yep. We have a friend out in Missouri.
Now we have another friend out in Missouri. Maybe we can all make this work somehow.
So let's go ahead and bring on our new friend, Steve. Hi, Steve.
What's going on?
Hey, how y'all doing?
So the Haunted Castle House. It's in Missouri. Let us know a little bit about the house.
Well, the house it's got a wonderful history, and I'll back up just a tiny bit. I'm a doctor, and I've been a skeptic all my life. My wife and I are both skeptics, and we had something happen in 2012 that rocked our world, and I realized that there's a little bit more to life than I had previously thought. So we went to a lot of neat places, but we always were a little concerned about, is anything ever fake? So I thought if we could ever find a haunted location, that could be my paranormal lab. So in 2018, we found the Haunted Castle House online, and we purchased it, and have had a very interesting 6 years there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now are you still the owner of the property, correct?
Yeah. We split our time up between Alabama, where we're originally from, and Brumley, Missouri, where the house is at. When we bought the house, I was still practicing full time, and about 2 years ago, I had to retire from some medical issues, so we get to spend a lot more time up there now.
Got ya. So it's your little vacation retreat to a haunted house. That's like my whole goals in life. To go have a house up north. That's just, I always told Sarah, if we ever win the lottery, I want the oldest and the most haunted house the realtor can find.
Yeah.
I can understand.
But love watching you guys. You guys are awesome. David, you are awesome. We can't wait to get back to that elementary school. Good evening, everybody. Hi, Amber. So, we're just going to jump right into this. What was it like purchasing it? Like, were you told that it was haunted and like it had activity, or did you find out by yourself?
Yeah, we actually were online for a couple of years after I really got interested in this and convinced there was something there. I started shopping for homes online, but everything was either too expensive or too far away. And in 2018, we saw the Haunted Castle House Bed and Breakfast in Brumley, Missouri was for sale. We'd never heard of it. We never heard of Brumley, but it was only about 9 hours away. It was affordable, so we made a road trip up there and fell in love with it and bought it the next month. And now it's been, I guess this will be our 6th year there.
That's awesome.
Do you know the history of the house?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When we bought the house, we were told this absolutely wonderful history, but being very skeptical, I just assumed everything was either embellished or might not be accurate. So we've really dug in deep. We've got together with the Miller County Historical Society, who wonderful group of people with great records. We've researched things. So we have traced it now to the property was first purchased in 1859 by Reverend Jacob Shaw McComb Sr. He and his wife Emily moved out there. They built a house that's not standing now, but we did find the location where it is, just about 100 feet away from the current house.
Wow.
And then it went to a physician, Dr. John Connor, who was not only a physician, but also the coroner. He was there for 10 years. And then it went to a gentleman named Clark Martin, who's the actual builder of the house. And he built the house in 1885.
Now, has owning the house, you said you were skeptical about things being there. Has owning the house changed your mind on that?
Oh, unequivocally. Yeah. With the stories that we were told historically, we found out a lot that wasn't right, but a lot of the stories we were told that were paranormal stories, we've actually experienced firsthand. And, there's days you'll be there and you feel like you're at your grandmother's house. It's just calm. There's no real feelings. Nothing happens. And then there'll be a couple of days where it's just something one after another. It's fully delivered on everything I expected and then some.
Now, were you told by locals about the house, or like former owner?
Was told by the owners that we bought it from. It was the people who were running it as a bed and breakfast. And then there's a gentleman named Nick Sacco and his wife at the time, Marcy. They actually bought the house when it was abandoned back in 2013, and they fixed it up to be the historic Castle House bed and breakfast. But after a short time, guests started getting scared off because of things that happened. So they switched to calling it the haunted Castle House and started marketing to that. After a couple of years, they had some health issues and had to sell it to the Rowlands. They continued it as a haunted bed and breakfast. And after a couple of years, they had some health issues too. And so that's when we picked it up in 2018. So we were fully aware it was supposed to be haunted. We just had a healthy skepticism about how haunted it might be.
Right.
So with that being said, are you worried about your guys' health?
It's a great question. That does come up. And, I go back and forth that the medical side of me just says that's nonsense. That can't happen. And, people at certain ages are going to have certain things occur, and it's statistically not any more likely to happen in a haunted house than not.
Right.
But I'd be lying if I don't say Judy and I both have discussed that. To the best of our awareness, nothing's happened to either of us yet, but it does stay there kind of in the back of the mind. And, if something odd happens, we may put it up on the market and pass it on to somebody else.
Well, but
You know where to contact me. So, I don't know. I like going into houses, like the old houses, and like looking, like when you first walk in, that's your first sight of the house. And I'm like, this is just gorgeous.
I love that.
I like the black and red.
Yeah.
That's my colors.
With the wood floors.
Yeah. So did you guys, when you guys moved in, did you guys like remodel it to the way you liked it, or is this the way that you purchased it?
Well, we left a lot of things in there, but then, we have brought in several new items. We try to bring in a lot of really old items, that are period appropriate.
Right.
I also have a room that's kind of designated to unusual items. I have, like a human skull from a dental school over in England. I've got lots of different, idols. I've got a mask from Tibet that's used in exorcisms. We've got a little funerary box for a child. A lot of items that are supposed to be haunted, with the hoping to find out whether that concept is real and hopefully bringing more activity to the house.
Right. Now, has bringing all those stuff in, like every time you bring something new in, does it enhance the house, or
it's so hard to say.
Off the other energies that are there?
There's times it really feels like it does, and times I'm not sure. I'd kind of lean more towards yes than no. There's a couple of things in particular that we allow groups to come in and do investigations, and it's interesting comparing their notes, because there's a couple items in particular we have that groups are kind of drawn to or have interaction with. So it really does seem like there may be something that's attached to that came in with the item.
Got you. Now, do you know, you've mentioned a couple owners before that. Do you know how many owners?
I believe we are the 26th owners.
Oh, wow.
It averages about every 8 years they would turn over.
Got
Um,
you.
yeah,
Now,
we've
how
got a
long
list.
did the original family stay?
I'm sorry, what?
How long did the original family stay?
The original family, the McCombs, they were there from 1859 until 1875. So they were there for 16 years. And he was a minister and a teacher and a farmer. And when they moved there, his wife Emily was pregnant with their fourth child, John G. Shortly after getting on the property, she delivered, but 5 weeks after John G was born, unfortunately, he passed away. And then Emily went on to have a total of 10 kids, and then she passed away at age 40. So that's the first 2 recorded deaths we have on the property.
That
Do you know if
happened
their
in the
spirits
house?
are there?
That was in the original house, which is right next to where the current house is. It's about 100 yards away. We've had the ground penetrating radar done twice, and in both teams we identified the footprint of the house, and we've done some metal detecting and excavating there and found several things you'd expect at an old home site.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Now, so when you purchased the house, you guys are going through the house and exploring as everybody does in a new property. Was it your idea to crawl through the crawl space or basement?
Well, the crawl space, with an old house, obviously the insulation's an issue, and so whenever it starts getting cold, I have to crawl underneath there and put a heater in or turn a heater on, and when it's warm, I take it back out. So I was down there, and I thought, I just need to see what all's down here, and I've got a metal detector, and I have a little metal pinpoint probe I took into. I was just trying to see if I got any hits.
Right.
And as I crawled back to one corner, I noticed an old shoe back there, and so I got it out, and I got looking, trying to find out what this was. And it's what's considered a concealment object. And I think this habit started in the either 13 or 1400s in Europe. And then a lot of people who immigrated to the U.S. from Europe continue that. And it was usually either the shoe or another garment from the wife or the mother-in-law. And it was placed under the house or in a wall. And it was supposed to keep away evil spirits, ghosts, and particularly witches. Apparently, witches were supposed to get trapped in the shoe.
Did you put the shoe back?
Oh, no. We brought it home and cleaned it up, and we've got it on display now. So it'll be interesting to see. That actually happened just last year. We've been there for a time, but I hadn't crawled back to that location under the house till just last year. So we'll see if the activity picks up any.
Yeah.
Put the shoe back.
So that's like the episode of Kindred Spirits. They had the same thing where the shoe was in the attic, and it was supposed to do what you just said. It's supposed to deter spirits away.
Yeah.
Once you put it on display and everything, did you see decrease? Like, did it do what it's supposed to do, or?
I can't tell any difference at all since I've had it on display, and it'll be interesting. We try to keep records of everything that happens to see any patterns or anything that is recognizable. And so far, it's just as active as it was, and no real change yet. Yeah,
that's what I was trying. So being an investigator, going to places, like, I always wondered that, like, does the property owner like take logs and report stuff and like keep track of what's going on in their house? Do you have like a log book, or?
We keep it in a couple of ways. And again, the reason I bought this was to be my paranormal lab. Every place else I went, I always had that little bit of question. They can pipe in smells, they can make sounds. So I knew if I owned a place, I wouldn't trick myself. And so we make really good records of things. We write things down. We do audio recordings of them. Whenever teams come through, we ask them to share their evidence with us. If they're willing to, we pick their brains the morning before they leave. So we really do try to keep good records as to is there any time of the year that's more active? Does a certain activity bring out more activity? And we might have seen a few little trends. So but yeah, we're trying to really be accurate with our logs.
Now, this is what I usually ask more locations that we're going to and hanging out and knowing. Does it get more active during Halloween?
Well,
Like October.
we've seen that there seems to be more activity in the months of May and October. And I don't know that Halloween's more active than the rest of October.
Oh yeah,
But usually,
October. Sorry.
yeah, usually that whole month's pretty good. And I don't know if it's because the veil is thinner, or if it's
Right.
because there was something historical that happened at the location, or if it's because there's maybe more people going through, and just the presence of more people kind of energizes the house. But
Right.
we definitely noticed that with those 2 months are really great.
Yeah, we just investigated the Gilchrist jail
Yeah.
here in Florida,
Yeah.
and we did a convention there last October, and
That was
you
crazy.
can completely 100% tell the difference
Yeah.
between hundreds of people walking through the jail and doing an investigation. At the end of the night, after all these people walked through, she got attacked, and then we were just there this past weekend.
No, a couple weekends ago.
A couple weekends ago, and we didn't get anywhere near what happened when all those people were going through.
Yeah, it was a lot calmer. Like you could feel the energy just different.
So that leads me to my next question. Is it more active after an investigation? Like everybody
Before,
says,
during, or after.
that's what everybody says. They're like, oh well, investigators, they'll come in and amp everything up and then leave, and then the homeowner's got to deal with it. Is that a thing, or?
I think it is not a really high degree, but a noticeable degree, especially if we have a week where we may have 2 or 3 teams come through back to back. I think that is probably where I see the biggest difference, because again, it's mostly our lab. We don't run a high volume of people through year round. If we did, that might be easier to comment on it, but just the times we do have several in a week or several in 2 weeks, I do think there's a little more activity after that.
Yeah, I would feel like they're either excited or they still have that residual energy.
Right. Like you kind of woke something up and tried to talk to them, and then you left. Like
Just give a kid some sugar and leaving.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we were talking about this a little bit. You said this might be a mass dog burial, or?
Yeah, when we bought the place, we were told it was a mass grave. And, we tried to just start with scratch and assume everything was, possible, but not sure. So we got ground penetrating radar teams out 2 different times, and both of them said there's clearly something buried here. We can't tell you if it's people, animals, junk, but there's something here. We had cadaver dogs out. They didn't get any hits. But as we got to know some of the locals better, we learned that there was a family that raised dogs there several years ago that had a really unfortunate event. Several died within about a week and a half's time, and they were buried in the backyard. So I believe that is a mass dog grave.
Got it. Now, do you have spirits of animals? Like, I know people say that's a thing. I don't know. Like,
it's funny you ask, but before we knew this was probably a mass dog grave, it was the first year actually that we owned it. I was outside. This was in the summertime, doing some work out there. My wife was bringing a load of laundry down from upstairs. She got to the landing at the bottom of the steps, and she heard a dog run down behind her. And, that's really distinct sound. These are wood steps, and we're both allergic to animals. We love them, but we don't have any in the house or on the place. Right. And so she turned around and, nothing there. Since then, we've had a little child, a few weeks after that. She was there with her parents, and my wife and one of the moms were talking, and this little kid came over and tugged on Judy's leg and said, "Hey, where'd your puppy go?" And we'll have guests that are there that'll hear dog barking or smell a dog. So I do think we have a ghost dog, and we have a ghost cat.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Now, do you think that's more of a residual, just because they had so many, more like?
I don't know. I'd like to think it's a happy one. The owners that restored the place, Nick and Marcy Sacco, they did animal rescue, and so they brought in dogs and cats. And I know one of their dogs passed, and they buried it in the backyard. I know there's a little wooden cross marking that. So it could be that. And then we also have one kind of tragic thing. We have a 9,000-gallon cistern there. So I pumped it dry to see if there was anything down there, and I found the skeleton of a Chihuahua down there. So I don't know if that was an owner's pet that got down, or when it was abandoned, if it was just a stray. But I'd like to think that was maybe Nick's pet that passed, and he's just happy to be back at the house.
Right. Now, let's hope that's what it is. So these pictures, we're gonna go over them real quick, and then we'll get into a video. I like switching it up for you guys.
Sure.
I kind of want to do the one that I really think. I don't know. We'll do the first one first. I want you to go over this one. Like I didn't really look at it, this picture yet.
This picture came from Facebook. It was from when the previous owners had the place. So I don't know who took that picture, and I can see where the person who took it marked it, but I'm sorry. I just don't have, any background on it. And
That's fine. I was trying to see what they're trying to look at.
Yeah, because it's honestly, it's hard for me to see anything in that, but clearly the person who took it thought they did, but I don't know anything on that one.
Right, that's okay. Now this is the one that I really want to look. If anybody's ever seen Dead Silence with Mary Shaw, doesn't that look like the face of Mary Shaw? Do you know anything about this picture?
Yeah, this one also was posted from the previous owners by one of the teams that was out there investigating. So I wish I could tell you more, but I don't know anything on it.
That's so crazy.
But I do want to watch the movie now after you mentioned that.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It really is. I thought I saw something in the left corner here.
Yeah, this is one that we took, and it was just taken in the middle of the day, not trying to ghost hunt, just trying to get a decent picture of the house. And it looked like there was something in that lower left corner.
Right.
Windows and mirrors are so tricky, and there's so many. Yeah,
they really are.
So many things.
With a lot of stuff like trees and bushes and.
Right. Yeah.
So is this taken outside?
Yeah, I'm standing out in the front yard taking this picture, and we've had people see a little girl in that window. We had somebody see our ghost cat in that window. When they actually came in, they said, where's your cat at? And we're like, we don't have one. And she said, well, I saw one in that window upstairs when I was out in the front yard. So
now when they say that they see a cat, do they see like a full cat?
Yeah, it looks like just a regular black cat. I've actually seen the cat walk down the hallway behind me. And we had a group of about 8 people sitting in our parlor. The cat walked into the room, turned around, and walked back out. But we do not have a cat.
You don't have a cat hiding in the walls?
No.
Or
Well, the walls are concrete. They're about 14 to 16-inch concrete. So
well, no, they definitely aren't then. I see a cat there. The first picture, the little girl, and the third picture y'all just showed. We'll go back. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's definitely something in the corner. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I would stop and review that too if I took that picture, 100%.
And in that room, there's nothing. That's a second-story room. There's nothing that's visible.
Right.
Past that, there's not like a chair there or something against the wall. It's open space there.
Right. Now, this one, I thought it was exactly, again, mirrors and windows are tricky. They can matrix anything. But
this was another one. This is a first-story window. And again, I was just taking a picture of the house. And to me, it looked like there's somebody that have like a white apron and their hand kind of on their hip and a little hat, kind of in the center of it to the right by the black part of the gym. But, nobody else is outside. There's nothing hanging up in that room. And so it could be just, distortion from the light and the curvature of the window. But
right. That's crazy. Now, you said that this is another picture. You were just taking pictures of the house and saw this one, or
at Halloween, and that was from this Halloween. We have candlelight tours, so we have some candles out front, some jack-o'-lanterns out front, and so after we'd finished our tour for the night, I was taking a picture of it, and it was a picture had the whole house in it. And that building you see is the milk shed that's just to the side of the house, And as I was looking at it, I noticed it looked like I jokingly said it looked like there was a ghost throwing a sheet over and pretending to be a ghost for Halloween.
Yeah.
But there's nothing there. That wall's flat, so you can see the boards going
Yeah.
with horizontal lines. Those lines
Yeah.
should be where that little figure is, but not sure what to make of that.
It's like, wow.
Kind of with the shadow right there, it looks like
Yeah.
somebody's walking.
Yeah. That's crazy. Now my question is, you said a milk shed. What is a milk shed?
One of the former owners, it was Dr. Myron Jones. He built a milk shed there. So it was a shed that had a cow for milking. And, it had a little fireplace in there too, where they could cook or keep things warm and then store things. But it literally was to house the cow that they got their milk from.
Wow. That's how you know I'm a city guy. I'm like, what is the milk shed? Well, I've never heard of that. That's cool though. So now, do you have people from like all over the United States wanting to investigate this house, or do you like advertise it on Facebook, or how do you get the investigations?
Well, we have our Facebook site, Haunted Castle House, but then we also have a website that my wife puts together. She had to brag on her. She did a phenomenal job. I think it's hauntedcastlehouse.com. And we post a calendar on there of available dates. We have overnight investigations that are about 18 hours. They, get there in the afternoon and leave the next day around noon, get the place to themselves in the yard. We do stay whenever we have a team there. There's a little add-on building that's attached to it. So we stay there in case anybody needs any assistance.
Right.
But otherwise they've got the place to themselves. And then we do 4-hour investigations that we lead. And then we have 1 hour, which are a mixture of kind of historical and paranormal tours. We don't have as many openings as we would like. Part of it's been splitting our time between Alabama and Missouri. And part of it's been there's just so much renovating to do and repairs with a home this old. And then selfishly, I love having the place to myself. It's really very intriguing to see what all happens. And we've had groups come from most of the states. I mean, it surprises me how far people have traveled to come here. And, sometimes they're doing, a little paranormal road trip and hitting 5 or 6 different places.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do.
That's exactly what we want to do. But we, like I mentioned in the beginning, we have a friend, Natalie, that lives in Missouri. But we want to get out there to hang out and do stuff with her. So we might be in contact with you if that's completely okay with you.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
We could set something up. Just the only thing I add, like bringing up guests and everything, I wanted to show this picture. Oh no, we were supposed to play video. I want to play video.
ADHD.
Yeah. So here's one of the videos for you guys. And so when it plays the video, we can't hear you, shuts the mic off. So we'll have a conversation after the video.
Okay.
Wow. It like goes down and like goes back up. That's all. So is that like a house security, like a Blink camera, or?
Yeah, well, actually, yes, that was the Ring camera, and it's activated by motion or a heat signature. The snoring in the background was me. That I was upstairs in the master bedroom, and that's our most active room. 3 of the previous owners died in that room. There's an apparition seen in there regularly. I've been investigating places 12 years, and I just don't have enough sense to have any fear. I just, my curiosity overrides it.
Right.
But that particular room's the only place I ever got scared. And the first night we were there as owners, something odd happened. But with orbs, obviously, there's an argument: is it dust? Is it bugs? Is it a spirit? And when there's a solo one that's pretty intense, that has directional movement, and it sets off the motion detector, it at least makes me think that may be legit. And we get a single orb setting that off probably 4 or 5 times a year, going from the door into the room to a closet. It follows almost the same trajectory. And the closet's where we have a ton of activity. So it's food for thought.
What happened in the closet?
So that
sure.
was going to be my next question. I was going to into now that we're playing videos. What kind of, it's a haunted castle house. What kind of activity do you get in the house?
Well, just quickly, we have seen apparitions. I personally have seen one, two, three different women. My wife has seen one. I've seen a little blonde-haired boy a couple of times. 4 or 5 of our investigator teams have seen the same little boy. Shadow figures. Judy and I will both hear our names called, and we think it's the other one calling us, and it's not.
Wow.
Footsteps. We'll have a whistler who whistles in one room. You go there, and he's not there. You hear whistling in the next, and you kind of play hide and seek.
I'm trying
Things
to look
get
around.
moved around. It sounds like furniture's moving, but there's really nothing out of place. There's a lady that sounds like she's wailing, just heartbreaking, crying. You go there, and nobody's there. I mean, it's truly had just a little bit of everything. I've not seen my doppelganger, and I've not been scratched, but
That's
for my doppel voice, I guess.
Right. I mean, I'd much rather see and hear other than get scratched. So
Yeah.
that's a win-win for me.
Yeah.
But the investigator in me, like, do you have enough power to scratch me? Like,
Trying to antagonize it.
can you? Like, that's my curiosity. Like, do you have enough power?
Yeah.
You can manifest yourself. You can scream. You can do this. What else? Like you said, it's your lab. I'd be testing so much stuff. I'd have so much equipment in there. I'd be in there all the time. Sarah would never ever see me again.
It's my lab too.
You'd be in a different room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So bringing guests in. Actually, we have a comment. If it will switch.
What just happened?
Don't know.
Our StreamYard thing weird.
There you go. Hello, it's Ashley from
Closer to the Veil. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
Moving on.
So let me know who this is, because
Okay,
I love Ouija. I actually have a planchette tattoo.
The backpack's a Ouija board.
I own a 1972 Ouija board that we've used a couple times. But now to get into that, who is this?
Well, I'm on the right, and a lady named Karen A. Dahlman, Dahlman, is on the left. She's a Ouija board expert. I think she's actually the head of the Talking Board institution, and she's done this all of her adult life, never had a bad experience. And when I came into this, medical background, conservative Christian, never had anything paranormal happen, just the ultimate skeptic. And something happened to me. I thought, okay, I want to learn about everything. So I tried using a Ouija board, couldn't get anything to happen. So I called Karen, got in touch with her. She graciously came out and spent a weekend with us and showed Judy and I some of the things. And we use it pretty regular. And most of the time, nothing happens. But every once in a while, we get something that just is really unexplained. And we'll blindfold ourselves or close our eyes. We'll spin the board. We video it so we can see where it moves. We really try to keep ourselves from cheating. And I'm convinced at least sometimes it moves for reasons I can't explain.
Right. Now, what is obviously her being an expert, she closes all of her boards.
Yeah, when she does it, it's fascinating. Karen, you'll be the first to say she doesn't know how it works, if it's ideomotor, if it's your spirit guides, if it's, deceased entities, if it's angels, what it is. She just, doesn't try to push one thought or the other, but she does a little meditation, says a little prayer. And then when we were doing it, we had a video camera watching her, when her and Judy were doing it, a video camera and one of the SLS cameras running. And Karen said her spirit guide came in, and just as she said it, one of the little stick figures popped up in between the two of them on a blank wall. And Karen's figure, the head of it reached over and touched Judy right here where her third eye would be. And it also touched her down in the hips where her root chakra would be. Wow. And I've never had two people's skeleton or stick figure join up on the SLS camera.
Yeah.
So that made me think, is it some type of psychic connection between the two of them that's making this work or what? But, she would go through it, and then, we would close the session when we're done. And So it's we have people come in who love it or hate it, and
Right.
it really seems to polarize a lot of people in the paranormal world.
And no, it really does. Now, do
Well-
you let teams use parent or Ouija boards
Yeah,
in
really,
the house?
we try to be, very accommodating. We about the only thing we don't want is somebody conjuring demons or doing,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and we don't want people, cleansing or crossing over. We didn't buy a house that used to be haunted. We're there
Right.
to learn.
Right.
But if they want to use, the Ouija board, if they, dowsing, pendulum, scrying, I've got a room set up that's almost like a psychomatorium where you can totally black it out and
Right.
have a scrying mirror there, a black obsidian mirror. We let them do candle interaction. So, we really try to let the teams do what they want to do.
That's
Nice.
cool.
We
I love when people are like that. They're just like, here, do whatever you want to do.
Right. We actually have a question for you. What part of Missouri are you from?
Well, the house is located in Brumley, Missouri, which is in Miller County. Brumley's a little town of 91 people. It's about 10 miles from Osage Beach at Lake of the Ozarks. So it is really in the middle of nowhere, but
Thank you, Tom.
beautiful country.
Got you.
I don't think I've
She's
ever seen a
over-
town that only has.
She's in Nevada, so I don't know how far she is from Missouri, but now this is another investigator doing our favorite. This is our go-to during investigations. We both like using the Estes method.
It was a struggle before, but thanks to our friend Haiti with Beyond the Boundaries Paranormal, we now know that we can do it 2 in 1.
So
We can hook up.
we
two
would
headphones.
use my SB7 and just do a single Estes method. And then I didn't realize on my SB11, I knew there was 2 different channels, but I didn't know you can hook up 2 different headphones onto either one of those channels.
Yeah.
So now you can do a double Estes method. And we didn't realize that until we met my friend Haiti at another investigation. And so that's our go-to thing now.
Oh,
We,
that's
Okay.
awesome.
Just
we
do
like
double
using the
Estes.
S's. Oh, she lives in Columbia, Missouri.
Or
a
she
few
used
years.
to.
Oh, used to.
Yeah, that's pretty close to where we're at.
Nice.
Well, maybe you have family over there you can visit, then you can come and see Steve. See, making connections, para-unity. We believe in
Love it.
para-unity a
Oh,
lot.
absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
this, we're all looking for the same goal. Why, we should all be in this together. And it's you guys that are let us come in there and do this, which greatly appreciate people like you.
Only
We're only
5 hours
5 hours
away
away
in
from y'all.
Arkansas.
Well,
Oh,
mentioning-
wow.
Kansas.
mentioning Arkansas, the whole reason all of this happened was in May of 2012. Our oldest daughter was convinced the house we lived in Alabama was haunted, and it was cute for a while, but she got to be 15. I'm like, look, you still believe in ghosts, you're attention seeking, simple minded, sleep deprived, whatever.
Right.
So I got online to find the most haunted hotel in America, and we kept coming across Eureka Springs and the Crescent Hotel. And
Mhm.
we went
Yeah.
there, spent the night, and that's what totally changed my world paradigm. So Arkansas is near and dear to my heart.
So now I'm curious, what happened?
So my wife Judy, we weren't married at the time. She was with us with a friend, and my oldest daughter Brooke was with me. So we had 2 different rooms. And the first night, I had a video camera running all night, and I got woken up 3 times. Twice it sounded like change jingling. Once, like an older type of perfume got squirted up my right nostril. So when I wake up in the morning, I thought, I'm just as simple-minded as everybody else. This place got to me. I'd ramp it. But I go back and watch the video when those things actually occurred. Plus, for about 30 minutes, and I never would have known this, my feet were out from under the cover and just moving. One foot was moving just a little bit, not kicking and flailing, just little movements. And then you see what looks like a little black finger touch my foot and pull back. I couldn't get a sentence out. I just like, it touched my foot. So I go
Yeah.
back, I check the floors, I look under the bed, I check the walls because I think there's some panel, there's some automated thing here.
Yeah.
And totally blown away. So Judy and her friend had not run their camera that first night. So we had one more night. The second night, I set my camera up. They set theirs up. After I finally got to sleep, slept like a baby. And when I went back to watch the videos that second night, both my video recorders shut off at 1 a.m., even though they should have run all night. And my audio recorder just before that, it sounds like a baby coo, a man say something, then a lady say, turn it off. And then there's this really deep guttural growl about 20 minutes later that I never heard. Judy
Yeah.
and her friend slept really well. And about a week later, after we got back home, she actually got a chance to review the video. And you can clearly see her in the bed, her friend next to her. And on the other side, the sheets look like they're going up in a wave, several feet, not something subtle, but you can see through it. So it's not the real sheets. And after about 10 seconds, there's a tug and a head plops down. So you can count 3 heads in the bed. So, she wouldn't sleep with the lights off for several months. And feet had to be in the covers. But when I saw that, I thought, okay, I know we don't know how to fake things. We didn't fake things. There's a whole nother world out here I know nothing about. I want to learn all that I can. So that's what's
right. Yeah, we were, her mom lives out in Arkansas, and we were looking up places in Arkansas that are haunted, of course. If we're going to a different state, I'm bringing all of my stuff. But yeah, we that's the number one that popped up was the Crescent for us too.
Mm-hmm.
So
well,
now that you say that, I definitely want to go.
And we've been back several times, and every time something happens, and it's a delightful place. The city's really neat. It's a small town that's kind of like European and artsy, and just neat little places to walk around. But the hotel, it's been really good to us. We really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Now, I think this is what you were talking about when you were doing the Ouija board. No, the Ouija board experiment. Is that what this is what you were talking about?
Yeah. On the right is Karen, and her figure's reaching over and touching Judy where her third eye would be and where her root chakra, and the little figure in between them. As soon as Karen said, my spirit guide's coming in, that popped up. And that's a flat wall there. So, I know the SLS cameras can pick up on, corners and structures, but that was pretty interesting.
Is this at Crescent too, or?
No, this is in our house in one of our bedrooms, and I'll forever, ask, ghost spirits to stand on the bed, sit in the chair, do something, and almost never does anything happen. But this one night, I said, would somebody please sit in the chair, or if one of the kids wants to jump on the bed, and boom, 2 figures popped up.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow. Now, do you leave the SLS going all night? Are you able to do that? I don't have one, so I don't know how they work exactly. But
there's a couple ways. A lot of times, I'll walk with it, but I can put it on a tripod and let it run, but it doesn't have a lot of memory. So what I typically do is I have it on a tripod running, and then I set another video camera on a tripod behind it, so it's filming the screen, and so the SLS doesn't have to use up its memory then.
Oh,
God,
that's good.
That's smart. That's
a lot of trial and error.
Right. Now, we were talking about the mass burial with the dogs. You guys actually do have a little cemetery on the property. You said it's the pioneers of that, like the location of where the house is now, or is this like the community of those people?
Well, great questions, and I can't answer 100%. We were told it was a pioneer graveyard and people were buried there before the land was actually settled, but I don't know that that's true. There's several stones that are set up there that look like stones we've seen in other old cemeteries. No markings on any of them. So we got, again, 2 different years. We brought ground penetrating radar teams in, and they found about 70% of the stones had hits centered on the stones and facing the east so that the body would rise towards the eastern sun.
Right.
And Dog's got hits on about 5 of them. So we know where there were 4 people. I'm sorry, there were 5 adults that died on the property, 4 in the house, 1 at the original home site. And we know where everybody was buried except for Emily McComb and her child, John G. Reverend McComb, could have very easily had a family cemetery there. A lot of family cemeteries were very common in rural areas like that. And with him being a pastor, it would make sense. And the location of where that's at versus where the original homestead is where they typically were located, just a little behind them, kind of draining downhill
Right.
and off to the side. So I really think there's a chance it might be tied in with that family and maybe cousins, uncles, aunts, or maybe church members. When we had the two different teams out there, we said, what about with digging? Are we going to be able to find anything? And there was a period of time people were buried just in linen, then in pine. And, when they've been buried over 50 years, certainly well over 150, chances of finding something's pretty slim.
Right.
I did start digging one of the sites where the dogs got a hit and both radars got a hit. And I found 7 coffin nails. And they may have been used for other carpentry, but 2 radars getting a hit, the dogs getting a hit, and finding 7 nails there.
Yeah.
It makes me believe more than not believe.
Right. Yeah. If you're buried in a wooden box, everything's going to decompose right back into the earth. So yeah, the nails would be the only thing that's pretty cool.
And we've had several psychic or mediums that have been out there, and it's interesting to compare notes with them, because there's one stone in particular in that yard that almost all of them get drawn to that one, and they don't know the other one's feeling. So it may be 3 years in between, and they'll just feel like there's something particular about that. So that again gives me a little bit of credibility.
Right. Now we went off track of the Estes method, but you want to explain who this is?
Yeah, this is Patrick Keller. He's a dear friend of ours. He has the Paranormal Podcast, wonderful podcast, and just a great guy. He's very skeptical about things, very, very objective as an approach. One of the funniest people I've ever met, but a really good friend. And so Patrick was there that weekend with Karen, and they've been out a couple of times, and just a super person. If you haven't heard that podcast, that's one that's pretty interesting to listen to as well.
Yeah, I'll get that. We'll text after this, and I'll get that from you after the show. I love listening to podcasts.
And I'll mention
we are a podcast.
We are a podcast.
we did that particular session. Judy did the Estes for the first time, and she was sitting, we're asking our questions, and she said, I think it said my name. And then it goes on for, another 30 seconds. She goes, it did. And, rips her headphones off, and she was done with her session. So,
I don't know if you saw in the intro of Sarah doing the Estes method.
That was at the May Stringer house.
So it's the May Stringer house in Brooksville, Florida. It's the most haunted house in Florida. So we did an interview. She was actually our first interview for Underworld, and we got invited because they liked our podcast. We got invited to the house to do a couple hour investigation there.
Thank you, Emma, by the way.
Shout out to Emma. You're awesome. But she was doing the Estes method.
I don't know. I felt like someone came up and just tapped my shoulder. That's when I pulled them off and turned and
so that was in Jessie May's room, which is a little girl that died in that room. And that's one of the claims is being touched, or like your shirt being pulled, or
we got the name Emma a lot. I really like her.
So Emma is one of the docents.
Yeah.
Hey, I got it right finally. She's one of the docents, and she's there all the time, like by herself, like before the group come and all that. So you said that you guys you can hear voices that are not your guys'. So do you think that you have a mimic there, or?
Oh, yeah, I don't have any doubt about it. And, it's odd that tends to happen more during the daytime than at nighttime. And it's usually, when we're just doing different projects, and, I'll hear Judy call my name, so I'll come out to see what she needs. And, she's not there. And, when I finally find her, she hasn't called me, or vice versa. And sometimes, we'll hear names that sounds like a different person speaking, but most commonly it sounds like, her or I being mimicked.
So
also, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was doing a spirit box session one night using one of the portals, and I forever will introduce myself and ask it to say my name or tell me its name. And this one night when I said, my name's Steve Skinner, could you please say my name? You hear crystal clear. It goes, Steve. It's really slow and drawn out. Wow. And it's totally different than the bleed through things. So, it's been a one and done. I've asked it 100 times and it only answered once, but
Yeah.
pretty crazy when it did.
So, do you think that's like, of course, you live with your other, I live with my other. Do you think it's just like in your head that you've heard that voice for so long and so many times that it just like pops in your head and you think that you hear it, or you 100%
definitely
hear
heard
it?
Yeah, I really believe I'm actually hearing it, and particularly since it happens to both of us, and since we hear sometimes a different person's voice. So it's a great question, but I kind of tend to think I'm really hearing what I think.
Yeah, like the alarms at my work. I swear to God, I hear them even when I'm at work. Like at home, I hear them. I really do. I'm like, there's no going away from these freaking rings. But we'll play another video.
To the door.
Here you go, and then we'll have a conversation after this.
Is that the same room with the orb?
No, that's the same closet, but it's the other bedroom. So the one the orb was in is the master bedroom, and that door, there's a big creepy hole. Somebody punched through it in the top, and that door doesn't shut all the way. The door in that white bedroom, it shuts beautifully. I mean, it's one you have to pull pretty good to pop open.
Right.
And that was one day Judy and I were both downstairs. Nobody else is in the house. Motion detector went off that something was moving in the white bedroom, and we pull it up and see, the door popped open. We've had at least 5 different teams see that with their naked eyes. A couple of them caught it with their cameras. So it's a fairly common occurrence.
That's what I was going to ask. Does that happen a lot in that house?
It does, and it's interesting too, because with the pass-through closet, since the other door, the jam's messed up and it can't shut all the way. If for some crazy reason air pressure built up in there with changes in temperature or something, it would just vent out to the master bedroom. There's no way pressure could build up enough. Plus, I mean, that door really latches well. It fits beautifully, and so you have to turn and push to open it.
Right. That's pretty cool. Here's a word from our sponsors real quick. Just kidding. We don't have sponsors, but we do have social media. So go like all of our social media. We got you. You thought we had sponsors.
We thought we had sponsors.
I was impressed.
What's up, Jen? How are you? Hello. We were just talking about you guys at the Stringer House.
We sponsor ourselves, but if anybody's interested in sponsoring us.
But honestly, we have all social media. If you guys want to go and like and follow, it helps us do this. It helps us meet people like Steve in awesome places. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, go hit that like and subscribe and hit the bell. We go on here. We try to do it every week, but we're trying to bring you the best content.
We do have a couple more videos we want to talk.
We do.
Or not videos, but pictures.
So
mirror.
I want to get into this before we get into the mirrors. Explain.
We already did that one.
Wrong one. We already did that one.
This one.
So this one, you said it's just like a back shed, or?
It's a chicken coop in the backyard, and this is actually about 1 a.m. And I've got my tripod and an SLR camera set up so the shutter's open for 20 seconds. And as soon as the shutter clicks, I take another picture back to back. So in the first one, there's a little something to the right of the shed. And in the second one, it's not there, which was just a split second later. When you zoom in on it, this is what was there. And, we're in the woods. We've got cats and dogs and possums and raccoons and owls and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
But when animals come in and out, when my shutter's open for longer periods, typically I just see an elongated cat, or I see, a bird flying and have a little trail.
Right.
So I can't say it's not an animal. It doesn't look like one to me. And it would have had to get out within that split second between the first two pictures.
Right. Yeah, it does. We were talking about that before, and it looks like a little kid, like kneeled down with her knees, like holding her knees.
Yeah, that's what I see, or a lady, just from the waist up, that's just kind of coming up out of the ground. But it's generated a lot of interesting discussion with our guest.
The way the eyes play tricks on us, it looks like three things. It looks like a woman pulling herself up out of the ground. It looks like a cat, and it looks like a little kid kneeling down. Like all at the same time.
That is pretty crazy looking. So we'll get into these mirrors. Do you want to explain the story behind the mirror, or?
Yeah, we've tried to bring in old stuff and period appropriate. And my wife bought this mirror at Hobby Lobby, and we love Hobby Lobby, but I was a little disappointed because I thought Hobby Lobby and haunted just don't go together. So we put this mirror up at the end of the hall. It's right by where you come up the top of the stairs. And I know mirrors are horrible for evidence. They have so many imperfections, the way lights reflect off of them, the backings are messed up, they have scratches, smears. But I get the craziest pictures, and it's different pictures that I get. And I've literally taken thousands and thousands of pictures of it. Most of the time, there's nothing, but every once in a while, there's something in there I just can't quite explain away.
So we'll show the first picture before we go to the circled pictures. I just want anybody in the comments, I'm going to leave this up a little bit. Let us know what you see in this picture. Anybody? I know what I see.
You can clearly see his hand holding the phone, but it looks like there's someone kind of reaching out behind him.
So it looks
like you're holding stuff in your arms.
It does look like you're holding.
I'm holding two dolls in that arm.
Are you holding stuff in that arm?
I'm holding two dolls in there.
Okay.
I had just put the dolls. We'd ordered a box in. I'd put them in this one room, but I didn't have room for those two. So there's two dolls in the arm that's kind of in the middle of the picture. But then to me, it looks like there's a hand on top of my arm, and it looks like there's a little girl back behind my arm that's taking the picture.
Right.
And she would be coming out of that room where the dolls were just placed. Yeah.
So now that we're talking about a little bit, I have it circled. That's 100% a girl. You could see her hair and eyes, and it literally looks like she's wearing a dress.
And of all the pictures I've taken, that's the only time she's shown up in that mirror.
Now, are those dolls that you're holding, are they haunted dolls, or are they just regular dolls?
No, I just figured a haunted house needed dolls, and I a little hesitant to buy haunted dolls because I think there's a lot of, I'm just hesitant to do that. So I got online and found like a box of old dolls for $15 and bought a dozen of them, but I just didn't have room for those two, so I was going to put them somewhere else.
Got ya. Now, do you know if there was a death of a little girl in that house?
I don't, but now there were three different doctors that practiced on the property, one in the original home site and two in the house. One was there 1928 to 1930, and he actually died in the house. And then the other was there from 35 to 47. So they both saw patients there. So I don't know of a child dying there, but there's stories of that. Our mediums have told us two different ones have seen a little child, but it's a little boy with a wound in their stomach. So I think it's quite possible a child could have passed away there, but I can't document that yet.
Right. Maybe there is a little girl buried in the Pioneer little cemetery.
Yeah, that's certainly a great thought.
But yeah, that's 100% a girl, little girl. Oh, wrong picture. That's 100% a little girl. That's crazy. And like you said, that you just bought that at Hobby Lobby, just a regular mirror.
Yeah.
Like that's how you know your house is haunted. Like, hey, I'm gonna go buy this, but I'm gonna go see this. Like, now I don't see anything in these.
On this if you look at my arm that's taking the picture, and again, you know, it may be hard to see. It looks like to me there is a kind of gray-haired older lady with a gray and white dress or shirt on or jacket that has a black collar or a black sleeve, and it looks like her hand is actually reaching around my elbow. You know, this part looks like well,
Right.
I'm pointing and you can't see where I'm pointing, but so it looks like her hand's kind of cupping it. And this was this year at Halloween. And I was asking if I, you know, could have permission to take a picture of the matriarch of the house. And, you know, I took several and there was 2 back to back where that shows up. So
Wow.
this one, there's something kind of under my right elbow, you know, that same mirror, but you know, there's nothing in the hall at the other end. The hallway's completely empty. And there's that white shape going down below my elbow on the left-hand side of the picture.
Now, do you see little picture? Do you have like flashes of lights and all that in the house, or
I'm sorry, do we have what?
like little like energy bursts? That's what I like calling them, little white energy bursts.
I've not seen any in our house, and I don't know that any of our investigators have. There's been a few who said they saw an orb with their own eyes, but it didn't just burst and then disappear. I've seen that other places, but I have not seen that in our house.
Was there anybody named Nadia? I don't know why, but the name came through.
Uh, to my knowledge, there wasn't, but I'll try to look into that. That's interesting.
That's why I like doing the little comments and doing this, because you never know who's going to go through and feel stuff. Now, you were talking about you guys were digging around the property.
Yeah.
I'll show a couple pictures of this, but like finding stuff and like unearthing stuff. Do you have a certain room where you find and keep all the stuff that you found from the property?
We do. We have one room that we have kind of the most interesting things, like a broken screwdriver that was wrapped in burlap and buried really deep, which I can't prove, but I think that possibly could have been a shank. I mean, I don't know that I've broken lots of tools. I've never buried one.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's there. Old pocket watch that I found, an old fob. That's a skinning stone. I think it's actually a vertebra that was used for skinning. You know, we found some ancient Native American artifacts there. The Osage used to live in that area. So the interesting thing goes in one room. The kind of mediocre things go on the back porch. The stuff that's just scrap goes out in the shed.
Right. Yeah. I always thought like unearthing stuff that's supposed to be has an intent of never being found again.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that it enhances the activity after it's been unearthed?
I don't know. It makes sense to me, but I just haven't seen enough evidence. Now, the only correlation I've seen with my digging is the very first night I started digging in where we think the graveyard is. That night, it sounded like all the furniture in the bedroom above us was moving. And the previous owners had told us that happened. And when they went up, everything was in the center of the room. So Judy and I run upstairs. Nothing was out of place. So could have just been coincidence. Judy said, that's a sign you need to quit digging. I said, no, it's just affirmation. They want me to keep looking. So
that kind of goes with the whole thing of like remodeling the house or like doing that, like disturbing something that they're so used to having. It like remodeling the house enhances the activity. I was just wondering if like unearthing objects like that and like bringing it back into the house or property, I didn't know if that would enhance or.
It's a great question. And, you know, I think it probably does, but I haven't seen enough. We have seen when we are doing some of our bigger remodeling projects, that does definitely seem to enhance the activity.
Got ya. Like Jessie Mae's doll.
Oh yeah, if you mess with
Jessie Mae's doll in the Stringer house,
if you mess with her dolls, she will get mad.
They brought the dolls down for Halloween, and so they do like a haunted house thing, walk through at the house to like raise money for the house. And they brought the little doll, Jessie Mae's doll, downstairs and like the prop, and Jessie Mae went nuts.
Oh wow!
Until they put her baby back.
Which is another
Which-
thing. If you ever visit the May Stringer house in Brooksville,
It's not a doll. It's her
not
baby.
her doll. It's a baby. She will get mad if you don't call it her baby.
Oh, wow.
Now, do you bringing stuff in and like trying to stay to that period? Do you have the same kind of activity if you start moving stuff, or?
Well, I don't know that moving furniture around really is done as much, but when we're working on a project, like when we were, fixing a lot of the electricity, or we had to do some roofing, when we do those types of things, it does seem like the activity stirs up.
What happens?
Well, with that, we seem to hear our voices more, and we've had a few things kind of get thrown in the house, like a Lysol can got thrown, or a window blind will get laid over the back of a chair. But it just seems like little kind of things to get our attention go on then.
Got ya. Now, do you think that you have intelligent spirits there, or is it more residual?
I think we have some of both. Like clearly when the voice spoke back my name, I think it was intelligent. When something is kind of doing mimicking things, it seems intelligent. There's this wailing, crying lady, I think maybe residual. Several people have heard her. She is either always on the back porch or upstairs in the master bedroom. So that, may be something residual. But I think we've got a mixture of both.
Got ya. So we have a couple more videos, and then we'll get into the question of the week. So we'll play these couple videos and then see what you think. Wow. So do you guys get orbs with the naked eye, or do you only get it on cameras?
I've not seen any with my naked eye, although some of our guests have. And that particular orb set off our motion detector. And for 2 weeks prior to that, that's the pass-through door. It's in the master bedroom, the pass-through closet door that doesn't shut all the way. For 2 weeks
Right.
prior, the detector would get shut off by that door rattling back and forth. It would move, back and forth like this. And probably 2 or 3 times a year, that door, just for no good reason, we don't have air conditioner running or ceiling fans on, it won't open all the way. It'll just jiggle back and forth. And we did have one night with we're doing one of our candlelight tours. That door came open about 2.5 feet and slammed shut.
Wow.
That particular orb pattern you saw, that one, we'll see it either go from that door to the closet or from the dresser on the other side of the door to the closet. And it's usually just a single one. It's not like a whole bunch of little dust, floating around.
Right. So the house that I lived in Pennsylvania, not to get off topic, but our doors would rattle too. Like and like the door handles would jiggle, and so I know exactly what you're talking about. It's a crazy experience.
It really is.
The first time I heard it, I'm like, what? Because we don't have animals either. Like we do now. We have cats everywhere.
Yeah,
but like the house that I lived up there, we didn't have animal at all. And we had, it was like a house behind a big house. So I don't know anything about the house, but yeah, we would have rattling and everything. And like we'd open the door and not a single thing would be there. It's a pretty crazy experience.
Really
every once in a while, it feels like someone's like smacking our front door. Like just that's it. That bump.
Yeah, but we also have haunted dolls in the house.
Yeah.
So who knows?
A man died next door.
Right. So we'll play this one video.
It's so slow.
And that's, again, it set off the motion detector. And that time it started over around the dresser. And both myself and 2 different teams have seen an older lady, probably in her 80s, standing at that dresser. So I don't know if she's walking from the dresser to her closet or.
Yeah. Now they're bright too.
Yeah.
Like the first one that we showed, like it's literally giving off its own light.
Yeah.
These last 2 are kind of transparent. Really.
Right.
But
You
then
tell
you
it's
can
not
definitely
dust,
tell it
But
has
you
a
can tell it's
certain.
not a bug.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that it has its own path that it's following. That's pretty cool. But bringing up buying stuff, you never know what you're going to get when you pick up stuff on the side of the road. You're like, oh, cool. That's a cool piece of furniture. I'm going to go steal that. Or not steal it, but it's free. If it's on the curb, it's free.
Free.
But
If it's free,
like
it's
even
free.
like you buying the mirror at Hobby Lobby, like a place that has, unless somebody's in the Hobby Lobby like cursing all the mirrors in the Hobby Lobby, you know.
I'm sorry. Hi.
But that kind of leads us to the question of the week. So everybody that watches the episodes, they all know what to do. But if you're new to the show, we play the question of the week, and then in the comments, we let all the viewers see what they think, and then we'll ask you the same thing, Steve. So here's the question of the week. Yeah.
Question of the week.
Oh. So, can bringing objects in the house enhance activity?
You can be the person asked.
Anybody in the comments, please let us know. And while we're waiting for comments, what do you think, Steve?
Well, I believe that's a real strong possibility, and primarily because I know people who aren't into the paranormal at all, never want to have an experience, who have shared stories with me about when they brought something in from a thrift store or when they inherited something, really odd stuff happened. And once they got rid of it, everything settled down, and it just was too coincidental to ignore. And, you know, some of the things we've brought in, I think it has, and that's my hope. You know, I keep bringing all kinds of odd stuff in, hoping to do something. We recently had a friend of the Castle House send us 2 suitcases that she feels had an attachment, and she was either going to, you know, get rid of them or give them to us. So we brought them in, and it's been interesting. You know, we've had some issues with nightmares, and had a deer head fall off a wall. We had a little black mist go across, and this is at our Alabama house, not at our, you know.
Right.
So I think I'd say probably I believe they can. I think that happens.
Now, you saying that you have activity in the Alabama house, do you think that you having a lab and doing all this stuff in Missouri follows you from Missouri to your house in Alabama?
Personally, I don't. All my family would say absolutely that's happened.
Yeah.
I think part of it's just now I'm more aware, because I honestly think probably every place is haunted. You look at the history of mankind and what all's gone on and eons gone by. So I think if you are in tune with it and willing to accept it when something happens, you can see both sides, natural or not. Whereas before, it wouldn't matter if, you know, my bookcase fell over. I'd say, oh, a mouse was behind it or something, you know, or we had an earthquake. Right. So I just think I recognize more now what I probably ignored in the past.
No mouse behind your bookcase now, Steve.
So we'll get ghosts. Well, like Jen's gonna like this, but Jen says hell yes. Harlem says absolutely. Thanks for using the freaking.
Thanks for keeping it friendly.
Definitely can invite more spirits to possibly come through than before. Got ya. So weird. Hobby Lobby is a Christian store. It's very odd that spirits would come through in a mirror.
That or your spirits just like
I don't know if it came through the mirror or if it was something that was in the house that you just
see that's
luckily happened to catch at that right moment.
That's kind of more what I would lean towards, because, you know, it's at the top of a staircase. Staircases tend to be active. Mirrors of all different types have been felt to be portals or you know, things that spirits can interact with easier. So I think that's probably more what it is. But
so Jen said, I agree that it's something in the house. So Jen, you would like this story. So we did an investigation at the Stringer house, like we said. At the end of the investigation, Jen and Emma asked if we would like to take the doll that both of them have owned and have had activity from the doll. We own the doll now.
She's been giving me some weird nightmares, Jen.
We've had dreams. She's had a couple nightmares.
I've had some pretty bad nightmares.
We have her in a salt rock circle,
Mhm.
so like protection. We put Santa around her. We sage her, just to keep it down. But we have her godkids come over, and we have a box of toys. And there's a Buzz Lightyear toy that you can like hit buttons, and the Buzz Lightyear starts talking or like make sounds of like shooting lasers. That hasn't happened since we brought that doll in the house.
Oh wow!
I have lived here for a year and so, and that never went off until we brought that doll home. So
no, Jen, not about her. Just weird in general, weird dreams. He's pretty much. We've been having dreams about past stuff.
says he never said Tino. But
like dreams that we don't want to have. Like he's had dreams about his grandparents, and I had to dream about an ex.
So
they've been weird. Like ever since we moved from our living room where Elle sits to our garage where she's not sitting, we haven't actually had many bad dreams.
No. So that's another thing. Like, do you feel like owning this location, like, because we have a friend Henry that owns a haunted jail here, and it's like his whole life he loves it. He like, do you feel like you have a special attachment when you're not there? You want to be there, type of thing, or?
Yeah, I'm really good at compartmentalizing. You know, I can shut things off real easily.
Okay.
But it's funny, you know, when we went there, you know, it was a 9.5 hour drive, and we spent the whole time talking about how ridiculous it would be to buy a house from people we didn't know in a town we never heard of, that's 9.5 hours away, that might be haunted. And we kind of fell in love with it. And I know that sounds corny, but it felt like we were supposed to be there. And
right.
I can't
that sounds
explain
about right
that,
for
but
a
it just
haunted
really,
house.
yeah, I mean, it just really feels that we were drawn there, and we're gonna, you know, stay with it until we feel different. But it's
right. Now, I feel like that's like, how do I word this?
Meant to be.
Yeah, it's like meant to be.
Fate.
Like, because spirits know that you're supposed to be the owner of it, and they like. Do you feel like the other side can influence us to be owners of the location, or because Henry had the same thing, like he never heard of this jail, he saw it on Facebook just like you did. Like, once you see it, do you feel like it's like in your mind, like, oh my god, I have to have this? Or
well, I do think that something acts, and you know, with my Christian background, I've always believed in providence, that you know, God sometimes pushes us in different ways that we don't really know He's doing, but it just brings people and opportunities into our life that wouldn't happen otherwise. And you know, others may feel that it's, you know, some generic spirit, or you know, whatever. There's something that's non-physical that I think can impact our decisions and lead us on different paths. And you know, the people that I've been blessed to get to meet going through this, people who I never would have crossed paths with otherwise, it's been wonderful. I mean, I get to pick brains of people who, you know, come from such a wide, diverse background and from all different beliefs. And, you know, it just fascinates me. I love it. I certainly learn a lot from them. And, you know, I hope, you know, we can continue to share things and all, but I think something, call it whatever you want, I think something led us there.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I love about, like, I've spent my whole life in the music scene. It's the same thing. Like, we all know each other. We all love each other. We all love each other's stuff. Why not get together and make it even bigger?
Why
Yeah.
Like, why work against each other? Like, I don't understand it. Like, we should all be doing this. And like property owners like you, like, you're the one that's giving us locations to come and investigate that we might not be able to. So, unless urban exploring,
Illegal.
which you said the house was abandoned at one time, correct?
Yes, it was.
So who knows what came in there and walked around the house, but I want to thank you being an investigator, us being investigators. Thank you for bringing properties like this to us to come and investigate.
Oh, you're welcome. It's definitely my pleasure.
You said you had a website where people can go and book tours for you guys?
I'm sorry, I don't hear real well.
You said you have a website that would you like to promote your website?
Yeah, we have our website is hauntedcastlehouse.com, and then we have a Facebook site, Haunted Castle House. We don't do Instagram or anything else yet. I'm a little technologically challenged.
It's all right.
We got some stuff there. Judy does a great job with the website.
Got you. Now, do you have any events coming up, or
anything?
Is there like a certain time of the year that you're more at the Castle House than?
We're usually there. We're there some every month. We don't offer tours necessarily every month. It just kind of depends on what we're doing with it. Obviously, the fall is our busiest time with tours because we know there's so much interest. We try to have it available more then. But both the Facebook and the website have our calendar for the year. And periodically, we'll bring somebody in. There's a guy named Dave Giuliano that runs the Ghost Hunter store. He's a demonologist, just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guy. We had something lined up with him to come out and give a talk and speak on that in 2020, and COVID kind of undermined it. But we're hoping to get him back out one day. So we do a few special events, but we really love to have just small groups so they can get the full benefit of the house. They don't have to worry about contamination. There's not so many people. You're on top of each other, and you can really do everything that you want there.
Now, is there a certain amount of people that you're allowed to come in? Like certain properties charge certain amount for like 10 people, like a whole group.
Right.
Split it up that way, or
to reserve the house for overnight, it's $500 whether it's one person or 10. It would be unusual for us to approve more than 10 because the house is about 2,000 square feet, 2 stories, big yard. But once you get a certain amount of people in there, my angst goes up. It's more things get broke, or I really like to keep things small. And when we do our tours, it's really rare that we have more than 6 or 7 people because we really, again, that small group gives everybody time to ask questions, to take pictures, and do what they want. And since it's a money pit, we never plan on making a penny off of it. We can have small groups and not have to worry about it.
Got you. So that's hauntedcastle.com.
Hauntedcastlehouse.com.
Hauntedcastlehouse, I'm sorry, .com.
That's fine.
And if you want to go investigate it, Ashley.
Or Natalie. Or anybody else who wants to go travel.
Come and see this wonderful, awesome house. Missouri, the Haunted Castle House. It's a beautiful house. It really is. You sent me a picture. I don't have it, but I used it in the intro with the picture of like the pumpkins and all lit up and everything.
Oh, yeah.
It was. You sent me that picture. I was like, oh, that's it for sure. But
I want to say thank you. Do we have anything else?
We want to say thank you?
I would like to say thank you.
So say
thank you for your time. So, do we have anything else we wanted to share?
Nope.
No, I think that's it.
Well, I appreciate you having us on. I mean, this is always fun to do, and we enjoy getting.
No, we greatly appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much for your time.
You guys, if we say this every week in every interview, you are officially a part of Underworld Ministry now. You're part of the family.
Well, I'm proud to be that. I appreciate you again having us on here. So thank you so much.
Definitely. We like to have guests come back on once you guys have more activity, or we'd love to have you back on again.
Yeah, I'd be glad to do that.
Awesome. Well, I want to greatly appreciate you coming in. I hope you have a great night, sir.
Oh, you all do the same. Thank you.
All right,
thank you, everyone. Thank you to you and everyone watching on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff, except for Twitter. because I'm not paying for Twitter.
All right, guys. Have
Thank
a
you
great
guys.
night.
We love you.
Remember,
Good night.
always stay creepy, friends.